Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again. Today, we have here an article and a video in which Lavrov says that even if Trump is elected president, nothing will change. I don't expect anything to change, and I will give you 3 reasons why. But first, let's read this article, go over the video, and then discuss the statements. This article comes from Russia Today. It is from the 23rd of January 2024. Trump won't change anything, Lavrov claims. US-Russia relations have deteriorated beyond the point of repair. Even if the Republican frontrunner reaches the White House, the top diplomat has said. Ties between Moscow and Washington are unlikely to improve, even if Donald Trump wins the upcoming 2024 US presidential election, Lavrov told CBS in an interview that aired on Tuesday. And I have the interview here. It's about, just a fraction of it, about 2 minutes maybe. The former US president had previously repeatedly boasted about his good relations with Vladimir Putin. America's general approach towards Russia has not changed over past decades, plural, Lavrov said, adding that Washington itself had ruined its relations with Moscow by dismantling all the confidence-building mechanisms and eroding mutual trust. The minister pointed in particular to the decision by former US President George W. Bush to withdraw from the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty (ABM) treaty in 2002, the key arms control agreement signed by the US and the USSR in 1972 limited the number of ballistic missile defense systems each side could have and was designed to depressurize the arms race between the two Cold War rivals. Washington has since shattered the, foundation of bilateral relations with Russia by terminating, and I'm quoting, all agreements on strategic stability, parity, mutual trust, inspections, and transparency, Lavrov said. Trump himself was instrumental in dismantling one of the few remaining arms control treaties, the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces (INF) agreement, which banned the two nations from having any ground-launched missiles with range between 500 and 5,500 kilometers. The US first unilaterally suspended the INF treaty in February 2019 during Trump's presidency and then withdrew from it in August of the same year. Russia suspended the agreement in February. Remember the times, the date and the month, because, the other side will say, oh no, they did it first, in response to the initial American move. According to Lavrov, Washington is still too obsessed with its own perceived superiority and impunity to change its approach to relations with Moscow. The US leaders have, and I'm quoting, had ignored the huge amount of goodwill shown by Putin during his first 2 terms, he claims, adding that American politicians apparently sought to keep the Russian president in their pocket. As he said, they had miscalculated everything. So let's go over the video coming from YouTube and is from CBS News. So here it is. Let me do it like this, and here we go.
Do you think there is a shift that would come if President Trump were elected?
I don't believe that there is any difference, because the drive to ruin the Russian-American relations, the foundation of these relations, including the all agreements on strategic stability, parity, mutual trust, inspections, transparency, and so on and so, confidence building. All this started to be ruined by President Bush Jr. when he told President Putin, I am dropping from the ABM treaty, from Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty.
And there's no return to these treaties?
Superiority complex, impunity complex is getting too deep. Those who ignored huge amount of goodwill shown by Putin during his first 2 terms, who just said, okay, this guy is so nice, we will keep him in our pocket. Those who miscalculated everything, they must rethink. Instead, we see the current generation of politicians in the United States having drawn no single lesson that unacceptable policies which the United States started to promote after the demise of the Soviet Union.
Well, so obviously you can say, well, what goodwill? He didn't show anything. Well, you see, like in any argument or debate, you listen to both sides if you want to find what really happened, or if you want to fix something. If you don't want to fix something, then you don't listen to both sides. You listen only to one, which is your side. And then you can figure things out. Is it true that these guys withdrew first? No. Okay. Or yes. Is it true that in Bucharest in 2008, George W. Bush told Putin, well, we're going to get Georgia and Ukraine in NATO? Is it true that Putin told him, that's a red line, don't do it? Is it true that the Americans knew at that time that that is a red line for the Russians? All these things are questions that these guys choose to ignore. Now, his point is this, I think. One, in Washington, regardless who is the guy in charge, because he used Trump as well, Trump continued what George W. Bush did, and then I don't know about Obama, but he continued. Therefore, is something behind that really maneuvers all this, and not the president. And this gets me to that video that I can't find. So if any of you can find that video, it is from 2015 to be precise. Why? Because there were the elections campaign, or 2016. There were the campaign elections when Trump won, and a group of it was 1 or 2 interviewers asked Putin in an interview if Russia wants to win, to have Trump win or Hillary Clinton, which one do they want? And Putin diplomatically said, well, that's the American people's choice. So if you guys, and I'm going to continue the story, if you guys, I can't find a video anymore on YouTube under any keywords. And if you have it, send it to me by Facebook if you can, because I can't look over these comments and have too many and so on. So Facebook, send it to me, and I'll be using it from now on. I'm going to save it so I don't ever lose it if it's still on YouTube. So, and Putin continues and says, you know what? I have been under, I don't know, like 4 presidents already. I met 4 presidents. I mean, that would be about what? It would be Clinton. He was a little bit with Clinton. Then it was Bush, right? Then it was Obama. Then now it would be Trump. And he said something that, or I've seen, I've been involved with them, and he said, I've seen that they're not the ones who really control the policy. The policy is unchanged, regardless of who wins the White House, he said. And he gave the example of Guantanamo Bay. He said, President Obama, former President Obama at that time, he said, he came with, or he was still in the office, he said, came with some very good suggestions and promises during his campaign the first time, that he's going to close, for instance, the Guantanamo Bay. And as soon as he got elected, nothing changed. He said, yes, I understand the rhetoric from when you run for presidency and when you get over there, you sometimes, say things that you really know can't be accomplished, or it's a gamble. And he said, because that's the way it is when you get elected, said Putin in that interview, and I'm looking for this. When you get elected in US, in about 24 hours, two kind of people show up in your office, in the Oval Office. One in khakis, he said, with glasses and with tie, and the other one in black suit, something like that. And they will tell you kind of like how things are ran. And then everything that the candidate had before being elected changes into what these guys tell him what to do. I'm paraphrasing. So if you find that video, please send it to me. It's like, I really want to find that, and I can't find it anywhere. I don't know where to look for anymore. Nevertheless, and Lavrov mentions that, look, even Trump did the same thing, followed the same thing that the other guy did, which is the Bush Jr. And that's the way it is here, even if, and now I'm going to talk about the three reasons why I think Trump will not be able to change anything. One, when he gets out there, people will not do what he says, like they really did not do what he said in the first time when he was. That is, it's like you are the, I don't know, the director of a company, and you tell the supervisors or the managers in a meeting, hey guys, this is the direction. The chief of department here, the manager is you're gonna do this. Yeah, okay. How about you gonna do this? So you put down a plan of action, and each manager, even each department secretary, will have to do his part, and they all agree with you in the meeting. And then you go back, and after a few I don't know, weeks or whatever, you have a deadline to come back, and the meeting occurs. Again, you say, okay, what happened? Where is that? Okay, we discussed this, what's going on? And you find out they didn't do shit. What are you gonna do? They're gonna give you all kind of reasons, this and that and this and that. And it depends on you how smart you are and how ballsy you are. And you either give them another chance or you just fire them. But when you fire them, who are you going to appoint next? Do you know someone that will do what you tell them to do, what they agreed? No, probably that person is going to be someone who's going to be referred to you by an outsider. And that's another guy from the group that you don't know. And then again, you start again. We're going to discuss, and we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And then after a month or whenever we're going to have the meeting again, you're going to realize they didn't do it. So then what are you going to do? Even let's say you put a person that you trust and you know, like let's say Jared Kushner. A know-nothing. I mean, in his business, probably he knows by his father. But anyway, let's put someone that you trust. And he will be the one who's going to be in your position when he speaks with people in his department. He's going to do in his department the same meeting you had with this guy. So when he's going to go and have Jared is going to be the chief of the secretary of the whatever, and he's going to have 7 people around him, under secretaries, and he tell them what to do, and they all agree. They're going to do the same thing the guy previous to Jared did to Trump. So they're going to wait, they're going to postpone until you get out of the office. And that's it. That's the first one. The other one, you simply, get sick. You simply get sick. And get sick and you die. Things like this happen. You have a mini stroke, or you have a heart attack, or something like that. And the third one, when you get over there, you know exactly what to do when these guys show up in front of you and tell, hey, buddy, who the fuck you think you are? This is how things are done. And you know what? You can't do squat. This remains between all of us here in the Oval Office. And what are you going to do? Show up in front of the press and say, oh, they threatened me? The next day, you go to option number 2. Get a heart attack or a stroke or who knows what. 3 options. That's what they got. That's my assessment. So when Lavrov says those things, for me, is not news whatsoever. I'm making this video for you. For you. Find that video. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Not necessarily that what Putin said is true, but that's an example. That's another angle to look. And then after you have that, you can use the self-fulfilling prophecy if you want. Oh, see? That's exactly what it is. Look around and see how actually the bureaucrats are the guys. The policy goes from A towards this direction. That's from here to there. When a politician gets elected, he's not going to deviate. He keeps the same policy. How is that possible? Unless you say, you know what, is the national security, it's in the national interest. No, not really. Look at the immigration. Is that in the national security, national interest? I don't think so. I'm talking about illegal immigration. Now, the other thing, Lavrov talks about the politicians that didn't understand shit about history. Well, it's either they understood, but they don't want to change anything because of the reasons I told you. There's someone else behind this with a line, and you can't go left or right, or they're dumb, so they don't get it. It's both of them are possible. They're not mutually exclusive either. All right, maybe they don't understand, but these guys are just direct them because they're dumbasses. They don't get it, or they don't want to. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.